Hey guys, I finally have some time to sit down and finally start this video series sharing my thoughts on all of the new Adidas NHL jerseys. So before I get on with this series, and for anyone interested, my first video here will be about the new Metropolitan Division jerseys in the NHL. But there's some stuff I want to talk about first before I get started. So for anyone interested in my last video, I talked about some stuff involving the new Adidas jersey itself. For example, the perforated numbers and the perforated shoulder yokes for anyone who's interested. And I made that video as a little bit of what I would honestly call a prequel to this series, because I kind of wanted to have a video to explain everything before I get started, so that way I'm not explaining everything throughout the series, which takes time, right? So I figured it'd probably be best if I just made an extra video just to talk about some of that stuff, just so that if you want to know about that stuff in more detail, you can watch that video. It's about 20 minutes long if you're interested. If you're not, totally fine. I totally understand. So anyways, some other stuff I need to talk about. Truth is, I did not want to get to this series right away, and there's some reasons for it. The first reason behind it is because I wanted some more time to get used to the jerseys, because of things such as the new Adidas Zero collars, and of course to get some time to see some of the new uniforms such as the Golden Knights, for example, who are about to play their first ever season. I have not been able to witness a new NHL team come together as a grown-up, so this is definitely a first for me in that sense. Because when I saw Columbus and Minnesota join the NHL, I was about 6 years old at the time. About 6 or 7. Anyway, also, I really wanted to make sure that I could find as many pictures as possible of all of the new jerseys. Not just the home jerseys, but also the away jerseys to the best of my ability. And I have some great news for you guys. I have every jersey now in the entire NHL for the 2017-18 season. Except, of course, the outdoor jerseys, which, as of this video, have not been unveiled yet. So I wanted to make sure I got all of the jerseys. I've done that now. I wanted to have some time to get used to seeing the jerseys and to have some more time just to form an actual opinion that isn't based on a first impression, whether it's good or bad. I wanted to see the looks a little bit more closely and have some more time to develop a more of a thorough opinion on them. Now, also, another thing as well, what was I going to say? Shoot. Truth is, lately, I just have not had the time to sit down and do this. I've been extremely busy as of late, and I really hope that I will now be able to finally get this series done in a reasonable amount of time now before the NHL season starts. That's what I'm aiming for, and hopefully that's going to happen. So also, I forgot to mention in my last video that some of the new logos on the Adidas jerseys actually have the jersey fabrics on them. Like, for example, Minnesota's new home jersey. And supposedly the reasoning for this is to make the logos more durable and more flexible, especially for the goaltenders and stuff like that. Just for the sake of not having a jersey that has a logo that's so damn tight on the front, which is understandable. Even though I think goaltenders have done fine without it for many years now, but just that's the same way as I feel about the perforated numbers, for example. I really don't think they're going to make that much of a difference between you guys and myself. And also, there was something else. I forgot to mention in my last video that I remember seeing something on Aesthetics where the numbers were actually planned, where Adidas was actually originally planning on just printing the numbers together, like the one, like say the number 12, like it comes out as one whole piece, and it's just heat pressed onto the jersey rather than being stitched. And thankfully, they've decided to change their minds on that. And if you want to see what they were proposing at the time, look for that on Aesthetics, because he's the guy who found the picture of it, not me. Now, also, there was something else I was going to mention. I have now seen Toronto's away jersey, which that's why I said earlier that I have seen all of the NHL's new Adidas jerseys. So, for this series, now before I really get started, there's some other stuff too to real quickly talk about, since I haven't made these videos and haven't made a video in a little while now. But there are some teams that made some surprise changes that nobody saw coming. And if you saw my What Is Known So Far video for the 2017-18 NHL season, I had a list of 13 teams. Well, it turns out there were other teams that made small changes as well. But there is one team that made a major change to their home jersey. And that team will be the team that we start this whole entire series off with today, or as of this video, with none other than the Carolina Hurricanes. So, really in the sense here, truth is, sportslogos.net was correct. The Hurricanes jersey design with the 2 stripes, white stripes on the arms and around the waist actually were not going anywhere. They have not changed. However, the good news is, as you can see here, is they've actually decided to build around those stripes and add a lot of black. It's about damn time. Now, notice that the lacing is down a little bit more. I'm going to be emphasizing this in this whole series because, to be honest with all of you watching this, I absolutely, wholeheartedly hate these new Adi0 collars. They are ugly as sin. Here's a close-up of it here. But not only is the addition of way more black on the red jersey a huge upgrade in my opinion, there's also one great big kicker that I think is fantastic as well. Now, the one thing that makes the Hurricanes a unique team is the fact that they have the warning flag squares around the waist of their jerseys. And they had them on their original jerseys and their first set of Reebok Edge jerseys until they switched to their look that they just retired. Well, their home jersey that they just retired, because their away jersey's the same, basically. But it's really nice to see the Hurricane squares back, and this time around they're more subtle. They're more faded. They're not as what's the word for it? They're not as noticeable. They're not as easy to see, but they are there again. And I think it is a welcome addition. And the thing with Carolina is they are yet another red and black team anyway. So to have the Hurricane squares on their uniforms again, at least on their home jersey, in my opinion, is an absolutely very welcome change, because it is the one thing that allows Carolina, in my personal opinion, to have a truly unique identity amongst the rest of the teams in the NHL. So I was very happy when they brought this jersey out. And truth is, sportslogos.net did not even have Carolina down for making a change. And this was one of my absolute favorite surprises out of all of the new Adidas uniforms for this upcoming season. So now, without further ado, here is their away jersey, and thankfully they did not change it too much. Or in fact, the only thing they changed was their collar. And once again, you guys, I'm not going to be able to say it enough in this series. The Adi0 collars are total garbage, and I don't care what anybody says. I hate them. They look like a lot of teams now have this toilet seat halfway collar now, where it goes halfway around and then it stops halfway. And then now on the Hurricanes away jersey, they have this white fabric block here where the NHL logo is now. And it's just not as good. Why couldn't they have just had their black collar with a black insert, fabric insert sewn onto it? That would have been the best way to go. But anyway, At least they kept this jersey the same for the most part. I think that's good since they've decided to only change their home jersey. But there's one thing about the away jersey that really is making me scratch my head. And it's this. Why is it that the home jersey has the squares, but the away jersey doesn't? To me, that this is the biggest... See, for me, the Hurricanes had the best surprise of all the jersey changes that happened. But they also have the biggest head-scratcher WTF situation, in my personal opinion. Because with Carolina, if you're going to put these Hurricane squares around the waist of your home jersey, why would you not do it to your away jersey? If they would have just done that, the away jersey would have been actually slightly upgraded, in my opinion. They would have their unique Hurricane square identity back completely, not just on the home jersey. So I just don't get the method behind the madness there. It's just, to me, it's just so random and so stupid. Oh yes, and there's actually a couple things I forgot to mention earlier, and I'm really sorry for taking this quick pause before I move on to the next team on my list here, eh? But I want to thank a viewer with the username TheSteveB1976 for mentioning the whole Adidas Pro Line thing where you can buy for about 200 US, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can buy an Adidas jersey where it's got the circle here, and yeah, my next team will be Columbus when I move on here, but the jerseys with this little circle Adidas tag here will be called the Pro Line jerseys, and I think they will be made in Indonesia for you diehard jersey collectors out there. And I'm hoping that, like what they did with Reebok, you will be able to purchase team-issued jerseys, and hopefully the Adidas team-issued jerseys will be made in Canada, just like the Reebok ones were until Reebok was discontinued this past off-season for, of course, Adidas, since they are taking over, right? Now, the other thing I forgot to mention too, and my apologies for having to go back yet again, but the waist striping on all of the jerseys is now warped in order to follow the contours of the hem, as Adidas says. So that's their explanation. So this means, to be very simple, in case you're wondering what the hell I just said, it basically means that the waist striping is now curved. It is not straight around like it was for most teams like, say, Chicago, or in this case, Carolina, or even the, say, the Vancouver Canucks or the Edmonton Oilers this past season. Now, all of the teams have slightly curved waist striping around the back to follow the stitching and to follow the new Adi0 template, which, in my opinion, is absolutely stupid. Because I don't know about you guys, I know there's some people that like it, but personally, I think the warped looking waist striping looks stupid. I personally think it's dumb. I really do. But anyways, I'm going to move on to cover the Columbus Blue Jackets now. So these guys are actually a little bit interesting. And they were one of the teams that Chris Creamer of SportsLogos.net did say was making some changes. So first off, look at these collars. You've got the collar piping around the top. And you've got the new Adi0 collar insert here with the shiny looking NHL logo, which personally I hate this ChromoFlex treatment they've put on it. This chromed out treatment they've got on it, to be specific. And it also pisses me off for you NFL fans out there that Nike's doing that with the NFL's logo on the new Vapor template too, if you know what I'm talking about. That's the name of their jersey template in the NFL now, which I think all of the teams have switched to it now. But anyway, so with the Blue Jackets here, the piping along the arms is now, it comes up to about here, if you can see my fingers, and then it goes straight across. Where before with Reebok Edge, it went up around here like this and came around. And so this piping here was slightly redone in order to follow the new Adi0 template, which I guess it's okay, but I'm not really a big fan of it. And this white fabric insert here, I'm not a fan of it here on the away jersey. And as you can see here, for anyone who did not see my last video, the shoulder patches are now higher up on the shoulders now than they used to be. And personally, I am absolutely not a fan of that whatsoever. So Columbus, for the most part, the design of their home and away jerseys, besides the collars, has not changed. Now, before I move on to talk about more of the details of the Blue Jackets' slightly different home and away jerseys for this coming season, I want to point out the new ChromaFlex NHL shields on the front of every jersey now. Instead of being a piece of fabric stitched together, it's now just a piece of rubbery material that has a bit of a chrome sheen to it, which personally I do not like this at all, because I think now the NHL logo, since it's no longer sitting on a piece of fabric behind the collar, and now it sits on the collar, you know, now the NHL logo sticks out more like a sore thumb now, and personally I do not like that as much. I liked it when it was more subtle with Reebok. Now, the biggest change for the Blue Jackets was the fact that they have a new number and letter font. Now, as one of my subscribers said before, and Devin Taylor, I think you were the guy to mention it to me, but supposedly the new number and letter font is to match their alternate logo, and correct me if I'm wrong on that. But personally, I do not like these new fonts at all. And I think most people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. But for myself, you know what the problem is? I thought their old number letter font actually looked quite good the way it was. I thought it was fine. And, you know, I just think that this was just a dumb decision. And personally, I don't like the new font or letter or number font at all. Now, also notice these little dots here. The numbers on the Blue Jackets jerseys are now perforated, and personally, I don't like it. That's why they have the holy treatment on them, and I think it's just random and dumb and completely unnecessary. So, okay, this is not the picture I'm looking for. Just give me a quick sec. I gotta take a sec here just to find what I was looking for. Because the Blue Jackets did more than new number and letter fonts, to be quite honest with you. So, here's the other picture. This is a picture of Seth Jones actually wearing the updated jersey. Now notice that the sock striping now matches the striping along here. The sock striping is the exact same on their away jersey now as well, where instead of these parts here being blue, they are white, while the rest of this is the same. In theory, it makes more sense to have the socks match the piping along the arms up to the collar, but personally, I don't like it as much. I feel like this really darkens their jersey a little bit too much. And it's a blessing, in my opinion, that they kept the red shorts, because if they changed them to blue, this would be one hell of a boring uniform. Now, let's see. Okay, so now that part is fixed. And I'll talk about the Devils next, but holy crap, I've got a lot to talk about with New Jersey, because they really pissed me off. But anyway, let's see. So with the Columbus Blue Jackets, there's actually a couple more things I want to show you guys here. So for me, the sock striping I just showed you with that picture of Seth Jones in the new Adidas home jersey has the same sock style as the away jersey, except these parts here were navy blue, not white like they are here. See, for me, I'm going to miss this old sock striping. Obviously, it did not match the piping on the arms. But I felt this was a better contrast to the rest of the uniform. And you see these thick red stripes on the socks. In my opinion, it gave much needed color to the bottom of the uniform. And the collar as well, I like the old V-shaped Reebok collars so much more than I will ever like the Adi0 collars. I think they suck. Now here's a shot of the Blue Jackets home jersey. Now for me, the number one thing that I like better about this is not only the collar, but equally the sock striping. Now, if you looked at my picture with Seth Jones modeling the new Blue Jackets home jersey, okay, it's not here. The socks are way darker now than they were this past season, and I like this sock striping. Obviously, it did not match the jersey, but it added the white and red here added some much needed color to the rest of the uniform. And it was because of the sock striping and because of the color here in the collar that although the jersey is very simple, because of the extra color in the collar and the socks, it had just enough color where the simplicity of it worked. Now, in my opinion, It is way too damn simple. And personally, I am a little bit disappointed with Columbus. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I would personally argue that their new uniforms are a bit of a slight downgrade. And I know it's a matter of opinion, and I'm probably in the minority on this, and I'm okay with that. But I thought that the uniforms they had this past season, I think they're going to look better in the long run than these new updated Adidas ones. Now, for me personally, this is the one team I do not want to talk about. The New Jersey Devils. Because in my opinion, they are now they had the most disappointing change with Adidas. Because I thought their old home and away jerseys were some of the most absolute best jerseys in all of hockey. And now they've gone with this uber simple, ultra simple, half finished looking jersey. So let's see what their excuses are for this change. First off, the red collar piping is to pay tribute to the Kansas City Scouts. Really? Come on. Oh, the sleeve stripes, to be like the Colorado Rockies. Whatever happened to the fact that your arm striping was fine the way it was? So also notice that the white parts here are much thicker now, where before they were a hell of a lot thinner. Now also note that this single stripe honors the first hockey team in New Jersey, the Newark Bulldogs. This little thin thing here, that's some excuse of waist striping. So here is my personal opinion on jersey changes like this. When you have to write either a few paragraphs or a short essay to explain a uniform change, it usually means that it sucks. I mean, they're making all of these excuses to describe the fact that, hey, they changed their uniforms to try and make more money, when really, this is one of the worst downgrades with Adidas. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I would have expected some crap like this 10 years ago with the Reebok Edge change. Not with Adidas coming in 10 years later, when a lot of teams have gone the throwback route. This is a serious downgrade. And they decided to have their 3 years that they won the Stanley Cup on the back as a hanger effect in green. Ooh, you brought some green back. Good for you. Like, really? This is pathetic, guys. And you know what? Here's a shot of their away jersey, too. I mean, I'm so sick of this half-finished crap that we're seeing in the NHL now, and I just think it's going to get way worse with Adidas. Pisses me right off. Now, this is their new home and away jerseys, their first jersey change in 25 years. And these suck. Look at these. This was perfect the way it was. Now you've got these thick arm stripes, and you no longer have waist striping. And that little tiny thin black stripe around the bottom of the jersey is an excuse. It's not a waist stripe. It's a joke. It's a bit of trim. That's it. These were great. These are garbage. Absolute garbage. I can't believe the friggin' Devils decided to change their uniforms. It's just a cash grab, in my opinion anyway. And you know what? This looks like a fashion hoodie that I would go and find in a sports store somewhere. Like, it almost looks to me like the back of this here, you could add a hood and make this a hoodie. This looks like a fashion hoodie or a fashion shirt. This doesn't look like a jersey to me. These are jerseys. These are crap. Half-finished garbage. And you know what? Thankfully, I hear a lot of Devil fans are royally pissed. And so you should be. These were great. There was not a friggin' thing wrong with these. But nope, you had to change them, didn't you, New Jersey? Oh my God. What the hell were these guys thinking? Like, if they did this 10 years ago, that's one thing, because there were a lot of teams that killed their uniforms a decade ago. But now, 10 years later, they come up with this half-finished Zero Adidas half-finished garbage? Oh, give me a break. You know what? I would not be surprised if the Devils cave into fan backlash, go back to these real soon. And you know what? This situation reminds me a lot of the Cleveland Browns, where it sounds like they're going to have to make some changes by 2020 because their fans hate their uniforms too. Now, anyways, the next team on my list is the New York Islanders. This Adi0 collar on their home jersey sucks, but thankfully, for the most part, their jerseys are remaining the same. Now, this Adi0 collar on the away jersey sucks. This orange block and the NHL shield on it looks ugly, and it sticks out like a sore thumb, and I think it's terrible, but the rest of the uniform, thankfully, is going to stay the same. But there is one small change that the Islanders actually made, believe it or not. On their away jersey, they decided to bring back the blue trim around their logo. And personally, I think it's a nice move. I mean, besides these ugly collars, the jerseys still look great. You know what? I love the Islanders jerseys. These two jerseys are some of the best in the entire NHL. And one of the good things about Adidas there is one good thing about Adidas. The striping on the arms look like they're no longer warped looking to follow the edge template. Now they're straightened, which they should have done this from the get-go. But so far, besides the warped waist striping to follow the template and the new Adi0 collars, these jerseys look great. And I think the blue trim around their away jersey logo is a welcome addition, in my honest opinion. So now this is the collar that the Islanders had from this past season, and notice the weird warping of the stripes on the arms here. I'm glad that it appears that they've fixed that now, and in my opinion, but I wish they would have just kept this collar the same as it was before, because these Adi0 collars, in my opinion, absolutely suck. Whoever thought of them is, in my opinion, an idiot. And you know what? It's not the person who thought of them who's an idiot, it's the person who approved them who is an idiot, in my opinion. Like, who thought these looked good? These look hideous. And I'm talking about the collars, by the way. So now the next team on my list is the New York Islanders' arch nemesis, the New York Rangers, who, for whatever stupid reason, now have this big red pentagon block on their home jersey collars now that sticks out like a sore thumb for all the wrong reasons. In my opinion, these collars ruin the Rangers' home jersey. At least on the away jersey, it doesn't look quite as bad, but still not great. But you see what I mean about the collar inserts with the NHL shield on them behind the jersey, instead of being on the jersey, or behind the collar, I should say? I thought this was way better. The Reebok collars are far better than the Adidas collars. Now, one interesting thing to note, though, was that the blue piping here at first was seen. There was a mock-up that went around the internet where it was actually gray piping instead of blue. I'm pretty sure the Rangers weren't considering it, but it could be a potential prototype collar, but I highly doubt it. But this red and blue looks a lot better than it would have if it was red and gray. That's for damn sure. But the Rangers still have great jerseys. I just think the collars really do wreck them, in my opinion. And I hate to say it, but the Reebok collars, in my opinion, were far superior to these Adi0 ones. And what they've done with the home jersey, in my opinion, was a huge downgrade in terms of the collar. Like, if they would have made this red block here just royal blue like the rest of the collar, I think that would have been the best bet, in my honest opinion, with a little bit of red piping, just like the blue piping here, except in red on their home jersey, of course. I think that would have been the best way to go. But still, nevertheless, the Rangers still have left their uniforms alone, and rightfully so. Their uniforms are some of the best in hockey. They really are. And I'm excited to see what they come up with for the Winter Classic. Now, the next team on my list is one of my favorite teams in terms of doing the whole Adi0 collar thing, and it's the Philadelphia Flyers. Thankfully, they've kept their Broad Street Bully look the same, which is the right move in my opinion. And as you can see, the NHL shield is now on a white fabric insert on a mostly white Flyers collar. In my opinion, the Flyers are one of the best looking teams with the Adi0 collars. I think they did a phenomenal job of making that collar work. Now here's their away jersey though. As I say that, I don't like this as much because, as you can see back here, they have this whole AD0 toilet seat collar crap going on with the half-finished black collar along the back and then the orange piping around the top. If they would have just had it black all the way, I think that probably would have been the best way to go. But with these collars, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't for the most part. But thankfully, the Flyers have basically kept their jerseys the same. And they're making the absolute right choice in my opinion, because these jerseys are some of the best. And you know what? One thing about Philly is that their jerseys are really unique. And I love the style, I love the Broad Street look, and I hope they never change again. Now, the next team on my list are these guys here who have just won their second consecutive Stanley Cup, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yeah, you've got the ugly ChromoFlex treatment on the NHL shield where the fabric now sticks out like a sore thumb. Or where the shield now sticks out like a sore thumb. Now, with the Penguins, their jerseys are still awesome. They really are, and I especially love their away jersey. I really want to get one, but I want to get one in a Reebok Edge cut. But the problem is they're so damn hard to find, and the only ones I can find right now are the authentic Canadian-made Edge Authentics, where they are going for about $400 Canadian, and that's a little bit out of my price range, and I'm being sarcastic when I say that, or modest. It's way out of my price range, and I don't want to spend that kind of money on a jersey. So that sucks, because I'm not buying this jersey with the Adidas AD0 collar treatment. Now, for me, the Penguins jerseys are still thankfully as awesome as they were last season, except for the collar. Like last year, the Penguins had the really nice golden yellow V-neck along the front with the black insert behind it with the shield in a more muted fabric. Just sewn together with fabrics and just more muted rather than the shiny chrome treatment. And on their away jersey, they had a black V-neck collar with a white insert, a black insert behind it. And I thought it was perfect the way it was. Now you've got this half-finished black collar around the back, black piping along the top, and mostly white on the front. I mean, I know that as I watch the teams this season, I will eventually get used to these collars enough that I will be able to accept them somewhat, but still, these collars just ruin everything. And look at this Penguins jersey. You know, looking at it from this shot here, it makes me wonder if there's a golden yellow or a black hoodie behind it to wear as a hoodie, not a jersey. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's just, the collars look like they're almost hoodies or shirts rather than jerseys. And I just don't care for it. I can't say it enough, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but just bugs the hell out of me. So anyways, I've covered Carolina, I've covered New Jersey, I've covered both New York teams, I've covered Philly, I've covered Pittsburgh, and now finally, and also another thing about Pittsburgh, sorry to cut in one more time, but their waist striping now is curved and warped along the back, and I hate that. Horrible. And it's going to look bad on these guys too, in my opinion. But finally, let's finish off with, and I lied, here's one more look at the perforated shoulder yokes and the big, giant, big fat crew neck collar. God, I hope they revisit this right away as soon as they can. As soon as they can go back to V-necks, they got to do it. Okay, finally, here are the Washington Capitals. Now, I'm not going to lie, I really wanted them to go retro. But you know what? At the same time, I'm okay with Washington keeping their home and away jerseys the same. And you know what, guys? In my honest opinion, of all of the Reebok Edge templates, in my opinion, Washington was always my favorite looking team to come out of the Reebok Edge transition in terms of these new modern templates. I think the Capitals jersey template was the nicest Reebok Edge template that ever came out. So now the change in the piping along here, instead of going up to the collar more like this, it now goes up and straight across to follow the new squared off AD0 shoulder yokes, or shoulders now, where they're squared off rather than round like before with Reebok. So their jerseys are basically the same, except they have the new AD0 collars. In this case, the AD0 collars work in my opinion, but still, I wish they would have kept the Reebok ones like they had the year ago. Those were way better. But you know what? Washington's jerseys are still okay. These are okay. They could have been worse, but I am going to be honest, I am disappointed that they did not go retro full time. That stinks. But these are okay, and hopefully they will go back to the retros, or at least bring them back as a third jersey soon. I really hope they do. And as for their Stadium Series jersey, I have no idea what it is, but I am hoping that for this year they will finally use this logo on the shoulders of these jerseys, the Weagle, because I think it's good enough to be on a jersey, and I would like to just see it on one jersey, even if it's only for a short usage like the Stadium Series. That way, everyone who loves the Weagle can have their chance to see it on a jersey, because I know there's a lot of people who want to see it on a jersey. And truth is, I'm one of those guys. But with Washington, though, I'm not going to lie, I really do wish they would have gone retro, or at least kept the V-neck style collars from before. But anyways, in this case, it could have been worse. So anyways, in my opinion, Carolina's home jersey is much better. But another thing I forgot to mention earlier, I really wish that Carolina would have just switched to their black third jersey and a matching away full time, because I thought that was a great look. Mostly black with gray, with a lot of gray and a little bit of red, I think would have been a truly unique identity on top of the Hurricane squares. And I've always felt that was a fantastic jersey, and I'm going to really miss it. And I don't think Carolina's going to bring it back again. But I think they should have at least brought the third jersey logo back as a shoulder patch on their home and away jerseys. I think that would have been a nice, decent compromise. And, if they're going to stick with this logo, at least they've done something with their home jersey to make it far, far better than it has been for the past few years. That's for damn sure. Anything else I want to add besides the fact that the Devils' new uniforms are absolute half-finished garbage? Let's see. Islanders' collars could have been better. I'm glad the Brooklyn jersey's gone. It has nothing to do with the Islanders. With the Rangers, I hope their navy blue jersey that says New York on the front makes a comeback. Or something new, maybe with even the Lady Liberty would be good. So anyways, besides all of that, you guys, I'm going to call it a wraps for this first part, and in my next video, I will be talking about the NHL's Atlantic Division Adidas jerseys. So until next time, as always, take care, and of course, as always, bye for now, and sorry for the length of this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Alright, you guys, as always, take care, and I will be back with another video in the not too distant future. Alright, guys. Take care, and bye for now.